Hey, welcome back to Drawbridge Props and Armory. My name is Levi Woods and I'm a prop builder. Today I'm going to show you how to make a movie prop. What we're going to do is we're going to take two identical swords and one of them we're going to chop down so that we can use it to safely decapitate somebody on camera. What I'm doing right here is I'm finding the center of balance and I'm just marking it. It's 4.5 inches out on this particular blade. Now I'm going to grab my die grinder with a metal cutting blade and I'm just going to chop it off. When you swing it around, it doesn't feel like a real sword. It's actually quite hard to handle as a prop. You can see the center balance is completely changed. But the intention of doing this kind of movie prop is so that we can follow through a strike so that it looks like we're cutting off an actor's head, and then digitally replace the blade with computer graphics, and the simulation is that a real sword has cut off the actor's head. You can see the center balance is completely off. So here I am doing a couple test swings and just kind of feeling the sword to see how it might feel for the actor. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up with my oxypropane torch. Basically what we're doing is we're annealing the blade so that I can drill a couple holes in it later. So I've got a magnet there and I'm using that to test its magnetism. When it gets hot enough to anneal, it loses that magnetism. I'm going to stick it in a bucket of sand and let it cool down slowly. Here I dug around in my shop. I found some strips of 304 stainless steel. Stainless is great to use because it doesn't rust on set, so I don't have to worry about this getting wet ever. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these strips into chunks and make some weights out of them. So over to the Beverly shear, and I'm going to chop up these strips. This is 18 gauge 304 stainless. And the shear, of course, puts a little curl on the edge, so I just grabbed a rawhide mallet and I'm going to pound those flat. So there's the weights, and now I'm just taping them together so I can get a fairly centered hole through them. Take them over to the drill press. Now, super important when you're drilling stainless to use lubricant because it work hardens really quickly and it dulls your drill bits like crazy. Give them a little rinse off, and now I'm just using a countersinking bit to take that burr off. Now to line these up completely, I'm just going to bolt them together and then head back over to the drill press. Again, using lots of lubrication. Drill that out. And there we go. Here's the completed weights. Almost ready to bolt onto the sword. Over to the belt sander, we'll just clean up the edges. I always like to make stuff comfortable for any actor that has to hold anything, even if it is just a weight. To clean it up, make it safe so that it can't scratch anybody or cut anyone. Clean up all those edges. So the sword is now cooled down. It's all nicely annealed. And take it over the anvil, and I'm just going to mark a couple of holes. When it's annealed, it's no problem drilling through a sword blade. Now just grab a little air sander and I'm going to clean up all of that fire scale that built up when we annealed it and just make it look presentable. It's pretty easy, it just takes a few minutes to polish it back. Alright, here's the sword, here's all the weights. I'm going to mark it again at 4.5 inches, which was the original point of balance. And now I'm going to load it up with the weights so that we can see just how much weight it takes to get this sword's balance point back to its original. It actually required me putting every single weight that I made onto it. Now here I am, just for my own interest. This is how much I cut off the sword, 316 grams. And the weights that I have to put on to bring that center point back, 736 grams. So just over double the weight. And that's just a leverage thing. Because the weight is so much closer to your hand, it has to be greater weight. But you can see I've now achieved just about the exact point of balance. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of those weights and take them off, because all of that did was just make it feel super top heavy. That's the beauty of using this style of weight for these types of things. If you're ever on set and need to make an adjustment, you can just unbolt it and take a couple of weights off. So now that we've got it figured out with the right balance point, I'm going to weigh the original sword, 1,049 grams. Now I'm going to weigh the modified Decapitation Sword, and you can see that it weighs a little bit less than the original, 1,037 grams, and the balance points changed to about 3 inches. We moved it from 4.5 inches down to 3, but it feels, with your eyes closed, like you're swinging a full-length sword. You can't tell the difference. There you go. That's my tutorial for the day. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe.